Okay, so a few days ago when I was doing a reaction to the fan club, shout out to him, about the Power Rangers reboot still happening under Hasbro, and I feel like even though I was excited about that, but personally feel like we didn't get enough information, so maybe somewhere down the line we're gonna probably get full confirmation as to what is going on with the franchise. Nobody knows, but I believe that comicbook.com might have some good explanation as to why Hasbro is keeping quiet and what is taking so long with the reboot. So we're gonna dive into this. Let's get into it. The Power Rangers brand has been a bit radio silent since Power Rangers Cosmic Fury, and while there have been a few projects here and there, fans have been waiting to see what the next era holds for the franchise. It seems, despite the lack of announcements, there are indeed some plans in the works for the franchise, which came way of a question from more reviews. More be afforded to Hasbro President Olivia Dummett. While Dummett did not go into specifics, he said that they do have exciting plans for quite a few brands, including Power Rangers. And that is the one thing that I'm excited about the most. At least Hasbro is not giving up on a brand, because I think y'all already know when it comes to Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, there are certain types of fans that are way toxic and they overreact to a lot of things that are not really true. And I think the problem with that is that ever since they've been so burned out with the Neo Saban era and whatever era that comes to their minds and whatever studio picks it up, and what they decided to just end the relationship with that company, some have good intentions of understanding what's going on, while others are just being really insanely delusional and being all panicky and acting like this franchise is done, when they don't really understand the business standpoint on why this company is not doing what they're supposed to do. But at the end of the day, this is business, so what can you do? The franchise celebrated its 30th anniversary in 2023, releasing a reunion special in Once and Always, and the final consecutive season of Power Rangers with Cosmic Fury. Both were released on Netflix, and this was to be the final chapter of this run before the streamer launched the rebooted universe. Now, Jinsaku put out a tweet a while back he believes is one of the reasons why Netflix backed out of this reboot is because Hasbro wanted to go the cheaper route while rebooting this franchise, and the show is going to be aimed towards kids still, not being aimed towards the younger demographic, teenagers and adults. And what I personally believe, that they could just maybe do a little bit of kid stuff, but leave the adults and teenage stuff for the Power Rangers, mainly because of the characterization and the character development for each Ranger. You don't really have to do too much of kid plots all the time, because that is what really was killing Sentai and Power Rangers altogether. And I know that these shows were aiming towards kids and stuff, but sometimes you have to balance between kids and adults. You don't need to insult their intelligence all the time. So what I personally believe, and what they really need to do if they're going to reboot the franchise, is do what Jonathan and Twizzle wanted, to aim towards teenagers and adults. Fight scenes, violence, adult stories, as far as mentioning the word kill, die, dead, murder, and all of that. I think that's what kids really need to see and hear, because they already know about murder, death, and all of that. You don't need to play it safe for the children all the time, when they literally know a lot more than we do. So what I'm saying is that one of these days, if Hasbro and Netflix are not going to work out a deal, and if they were, let's just assume that they're going to be working out a deal with Netflix, they're going to probably say, we have the money, we have all of the cash, all of the production, to throw money into a show to make it more crisp and look great for our target audience. If you do stuff like that for the reboot, I think the fans are gonna end up coming back to a show or a movie for that matter. But unfortunately, Hasbro, I don't know if all of this is true of what Jinsaku is saying. Then I think Hasbro dropped the ball with Netflix because of their stupid decision. And I get that nobody's perfect or anything, but if I hear one comment saying, oh, Hasbro doesn't care about Power Rangers, RIP Power Rangers is dead, I'm cutting you off. The reboot was being developed by Jonathan Entwistle, so I am not okay with this, and showrunner Jenny Clan, and was set to deliver a connected world of characters across both television and film. Unfortunately, earlier this year, it was reported that the live action series was no longer moving forward at Netflix, with Hasbro reportedly exploring a new creative direction for the show, as well as a new partner as a result of the change. Now, the reason why I wasn't really a fan of this original change or decision from Netflix to Hasbro is because we could have had a great PR universe done right, with Netflix being the most mature TV show that we could have gotten 31 years ago. And one of the main reasons why I said this is because certain kid shows that are mature, they do know how to bring in good storylines with talented actors and actresses, directors, producers, writers of the shows or whatnot. And they also have the money and resources to throwing these shows or their seasons without being cheap. If you don't have the money, you might as well just make a good low budget TV shows and films. And there are some good low budget films and TV shows, but for Power Rangers, I think what they need to do is just go on a higher budget route. And I truly believe that it's time for them to stop being so cheap and stop, and learn how to take risk. You know what I'm saying? So, while the TV and movie sides of the franchise are in the flux, there are other things happening with the franchise in the interim. The gaming front is actually where Power Rangers is most visible at the moment, as a new Reader's Rewind video game was recently announced for consoles and mobile. Hit Legacy Wars continues to add new content. Renegade Game Studios continues to release new content, as well as for the Power Rangers deck building game and Heroes of the Grid. And they've also introduced a variety of new content into the Power Rangers role-playing game. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of those types of games. I've always been a fan of console games, like something for adults that grew up with the franchise from back in the 90s, playing on Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo, Game Gear, Game Boy, or whatever. But the role-playing games and the mobile games, I don't mind that, but I play Legacy Wars sometimes, but I just don't like it that much because of how the AI and how cheap it is sometimes. That's why I couldn't really get behind it all the way. You know what I'm saying? But at least Hasbro is continuing to make Power Ranger games, for those who are board game fans, in my opinion. Then there are the toys. Then there's the toys and collectible sides of the franchise, which is also going quite strong despite the fact that Hasbro's Lightning collection ended rather abruptly. Other companies are still creating new statues and collectibles for the franchise, and there will be a new toy line next year from Playmates Toys, and we all know that. I've done videos talking about it, mentioning it, and covering stories on what the toys might end up looking like in 2025, and I've done stories on what they mentioned a while back about them doing a new toy line from Playmates Toys that it's not just called Playmates Power Rangers toys. It's going to be called something else with the Power Rangers toys, much like how Bandai used to do with the Legacy line, Hasbro's Lightning Collection. And I can't imagine what other names for Playmates toys that are representing the Power Rangers line in 2025 that it's going to be a lot better than Hasbro's Lightning Collection. And while I was doing the story a while back, I didn't really cover the part where it says that they're gonna have better price. That was pretty much them taking a shot at Hasbro for making these expensive toys for role-playing figures. You know what I'm saying? So whether they're making helmets, weapons, so when something like that. So now the question is, what do you want to see in the new Power Rangers project? And I'm gonna get to that towards the end of the video. So what I want to see from the Power Rangers project, a reboot of MEPR. Not the Rangers having them being there, but I want to see them, instead of just being friends already, I want to see like Trini be the new student, since she's been moving from town to town, city to city in California, Angel Grove, and she's gonna be friends with with Kimberly. And I want to see them just reboot Dare the Dumpster, but add some new twists to it. You know what I'm saying? And I also want to see them bring in a guy in a suit that does all the acrobatic fight scenes instead of using CGI. But if you're going to use CGI, I would have said, like, do it right. And some things that I love when Jonathan Torzo said that he likes practical effects, and I like it too because I grew up with it the most. So what are your thoughts on this? Link to the article will be down below, and yeah, I'm gonna catch you.